All things being equal, hiring an in-person personal trainer is a waste of time and money. You're better off finding the right coach for you online. But who? And why not in-person personal training? Isn't it supposed to be better? I've done both, 5 years on the gym floor in the city of London and nearly 15 years online. My mission is to help busy professionals get into the best mental and physical shape of their life, to use the physical transformation as the vehicle to do things they never thought possible. From improving their confidence, mindset, and self discipline to taking their health, personal relationships, and career success to the next level. If I could do this better in person, I would, but I don't. In fact, my results have been significantly better online for reasons I'm going to share in this video. Here's the thing, when you hear in person, you automatically think personal, intimate, and most of all, better for results. But the world has changed rapidly, and with new technology and the digital age we live in, what you can do online far outweighs in-person personal training. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on anyone with the goal of optimizing body composition, weight loss, and general health. Specifically, busy professionals who are short on time, juggling responsibilities of family, work, and a social life, whilst in urgent need of a lifestyle change. So let's dive in. Recently, I was in Kenya on a Coaching the Coaches course speaking to my running coach about his experiences of working with clients in person and online. He said something which clicked and helped explain why for all these years, my results online have been so good. He said before he went online, he never really heard much of the deep stuff from his clients. Nothing about the real barriers blocking them because it was all about the training. But when he moved online, he suddenly knew everyone's deepest and darkest secrets and really what was actually blocking their progress. As soon as I heard this, I thought back to my personal training days. It was all about training, no time to discuss the most important things when it comes to transformation, like nutrition, lifestyle, sleep, and stress. If you did, it was a few words between sets as they caught their breath. And of course, you could spend 30 minutes of the session doing this, but it would cause an immediate drop in value and they'd feel ripped off, as in their mind, they came for a workout. I found over the years that weight loss and weight management is about 10% training, 40% nutrition, and 50% managing stress and emotions. 90% of the battle is all psychology and lifestyle optimization. It's rewiring bad habits and building a new identity of someone who is healthy, fit, and makes the right choices in different life circumstances and environments. Personal training in person leaves no room for this. It's get in, train hard, and get out. And that's if you're lucky. 99% of personal training I see in local gyms is more like come in, the trainer might be late, do a few sets made up on the spot whilst the trainer is checking their phone, have a chit chat, do a bit more, then go home without really doing much work. So the training bit you think you're paying for doesn't even happen. Here's a harsh truth. The calorie burn you get from a workout is next to nothing, and all the value in any body transformation type service is in what you do for the other 23 hours of the day. 99% of personal trainers I observe dedicate next to nothing of their service to nutrition or lifestyle management, outside of eating a bit more protein and a bit less junk. That's why clients are left with no results and no tangible return on what can be a very hefty investment. In London, a trainer 3 times a week can cost anywhere from £250 a week at the minimum, which sums up to a very expensive workout. This can be a nice luxury if you like having someone to work out with, and it's of no financial worry, but for most people, it's a waste. We speak to people every single day who have tried tons of personal trainers but got nowhere. In the rare scenario you find a results producing trainer in a big city like London, New York, or similar, you're looking at closer to £300 to £500 a week. The challenge is actually finding this person and being able to sustain the fees. That's why trainers who fit this bill typically work well for short-term drastic weight loss, but nothing long-term. The good news is online, you're not limited by location. And for a premium service that delivers world-class results, it may only be £300 to £500 a month investment, a quarter of the price. Now, circling back to my conversation with my running coach, we started talking about why we think it's deeper when you go online. A few things. The first is it's much easier to open up to someone when you're writing or sharing something via a video call. There's something about the screen which takes away what would normally be a barrier in person. The second is you carve out dedicated time in your day or week to feedback on your progress, which forces introspection and actual thinking. The space created for this makes all the difference. If you're not on track or you know you're struggling, you'll tap into why this may be the case, which is always more than just whatever the diet plan is or whatever the workout is. This is where the deep stuff comes out, which is really important to making breakthroughs. If food, for example, is a crutch, it's not that you need to eat more protein, it's you need to figure out what you're using it to cover up for. What that could be is opening up Pandora's box. But this is why a body transformation done correctly is always more than just weight loss. Here's the other thing. For the majority of people who gravitate towards in-person personal training, think busy professionals, balancing family, work, and a social life, they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and above. And what they care about is losing weight, improving their health, and building more confidence. Very little of this has to do with actual training. If you have a world-class trainer who can coach the perfect squat, it means nothing to actually accomplishing their goals. This isn't discounting the importance of resistance training. We know its role in long-term bone health, muscle building, strength, and all that great stuff. It's addressing the fact that training makes up such a small percentage of the weight loss and weight maintenance equation. I'm going to repeat it. It's 10% training, 40% nutrition, and 50% managing stress and emotions. Now, one thing which often gets thrown around is, but isn't it good for accountability and locking in the appointment each day? I agree, it can be useful. But here's the reality. When you're a busy mum balancing a full-time job with 3 kids under 8, you want flexibility more than anything else. And you might want your workouts to be done at home, which is where online coaching again shines. You can train anywhere, anytime, and on your own schedule. Whether you have travel, holidays, schedule changes, or whatever pops up, you can tick your session off at a time that suits you. The flexibility of location means you can find the right and best coach for you, rather than whatever is in your local 5-mile radius. With a digital service, you can also foster more community around like-minded people, increase the level of touch points with members, and build much more future self-sufficiency. Accountability goes up because you go from seeing a trainer maybe 1 to 3 times a week to the following: daily contact with a one-on-one coach, daily contact with a community of like-minded people, daily engagement with specific content for your goals, daily data tracking on your progress. Everything just ramps up. Now, of course, I'm talking about a world-class online coaching service provider because there are many charlatans, which I'll comment to later. If you've made it to here, you may still be thinking about working out, especially if you're new to training. You hear weight loss and health and think that means getting in the gym and learning how to lift. Now, don't get me wrong, these are great skills to have, and I'm a big believer in them, but you can do it all online. 99% of local in-person personal trainers have zero idea what they're doing. Every time I walk into a gym, I cringe at some of the things I see. Fun fact, we've received so many videos from clients who also had an in-person personal trainer to cover their workouts, film their session, and every single time we can only cringe and correct it, much to the shock of the client. Most trainers are rep counters. I wish this wasn't the case, because if this profession was treated more seriously, it could be life-changing for so much of the population. But this is the 2025 reality, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. So is there any validity in hiring a personal trainer? This might sound contradictory after everything I've said, but if you can find a really good in-person trainer, then it's worth booking in 2 to 3 sessions to fix your form, get a feel for real intensity, and know your way around the gym. The trouble is knowing what is really good. Where a personal trainer could really shine is hiring them to follow you around social events or sit with you on the sofa at night when you're exhausted from the day. That's where most people struggle. So if you want an in-person experience, you're better off doing it this way. Again, in 2025, this isn't a reality, or at least I haven't heard of this as a service. Here's what the ultimate in-person service could entail. If money, time, location, and logistics wasn't an issue, and you live close to a results-producing personal trainer, you could use 1 to 3 sessions a week in the gym, focused on workout intensity and technique. You could use 1 session a week discussing the blockers behind your results, whether they're nutrition, psychology, or general life issues. And you can ask them to provide all the daily accountability mechanisms of an online service. Then, as a bonus, maybe request a few magical appearances when you're tired, exhausted, and about to snack, but that might be getting a bit too far-fetched. So what do you do instead? You know most in-person personal training isn't good for much more than having a chit-chat during a good workout, potentially. You know you need to lose weight, get healthier, and figure out how to build a lifestyle to keep it off long term. But you have no idea what to do and how to do it without anything extreme or unsustainable. Now this is where you're probably expecting me to say, yes, hire us. And whilst I know we're the best in the business for a very specific person, think busy professionals, aged between 30 and 55, juggling family, work, social life, and wanting to look and feel their best, you may not fit that category. And maybe you just want to understand what to look for. The first is, have they got a track record in the exact type of result you're looking for in a similar type of person to you? If it's a big green tick, then ask yourself, how long and how consistently have they been producing these results? If it's more than a few years, then ask yourself, What's the quality of their free content and education materials? Is it just Instagram posts, or can you immerse yourself in hours of long form type podcasts, articles, books, and videos? Do they host any live webinars or masterclasses? This is important because you understand their depth of knowledge and expertise. I would also add here, can you listen to or watch in-depth interviews with their clients? I've had countless so-called coaches rip off our results and pass them off as their own. This is a growing problem in the industry, so you need to do your due diligence here. If it's another tick, then ask yourself, what's the quality of the team? Do they have strong accountability mechanisms internally? How are their coaches incentivized? Is it with your best interests at heart? Remember, there's no regulation or ethics in this industry, so most people are cowboys giving cookie cutter programs with minimal support. And last but not least, linking it all together, what's the mission they're on? Is it clear they're serious about this? Or does it look and feel like a flash in the pan? It's a minefield out there, and the ethics of this industry are very questionable, so I get it. It's hard to know who's really trustworthy, which is why it's not just about the results you see. You've got to look deeper and explore the depth behind them. But at least you know if you watch to the end, you can rule out wasting your time and money on in-person personal trainers. And if you fancy seeing if you're ready for a body transformation with us, try our free quiz. In only 5 minutes, you can answer a few yes or no questions and you'll know exactly if you're ready to go on this R&T transformation journey. Simply go to www.rntfitness.com/transform or click the link at the top of the description. I'll see you on the next one.